The Sunset Valley Inn looked exactly like what you'd expect from a bankrupt hotel: peeling paint, cracked windows, and a neon sign with half its letters burned out. Standing in the empty parking lot, I could almost hear my brother's laughter echoing in my ears. "Have fun with this mess, Olivia," Marcus had sneered at the will reading, adjusting his Rolex. "Maybe you can live in one of the rooms since it's all you'll ever afford." James, my other brother, had been equally cruel. Dad must have finally developed a sense of humor, giving his only daughter a worthless hotel while we get the real estate empire. Priceless. Now, 2 weeks later, I stood before my inheritance, key in hand. The hotel had been in our family for 3 generations, the first property my grandfather had purchased. But while my father had gone on to build Carter Properties into a billion-dollar development company, the Sunset Valley Inn had fallen into disrepair. Ms. Carter. A tired-looking man in his 60s approached, extending his hand. "I'm George Miller, the manager, or what's left of management anyway." I shook his hand, noting the genuine warmth in his grip. "Please call me Olivia. Can you show me around?" The tour was both better and worse than I'd expected. The hotel's bones were good, solid construction from an era when things were built to last. But years of minimal maintenance had taken their toll. "We're down to 8 employees," George explained as we walked through the empty restaurant. "Most rooms need repairs, the kitchen equipment's ancient, and honestly, we're probably one health inspection away from being shut down." "How many rooms are actually operational?" 23 out of 50. But even those, he gestured to water stains on the ceiling. I nodded, making mental notes. "And current occupancy? About 30% on good weeks, mostly long-term residents who can't afford anywhere else." George's voice softened. "Good people, just down on their luck." Like me, I thought. The family disappointment, the daughter who'd study hotel management instead of real estate development, who'd worked her way up from housekeeping to hotel operations while her brothers attended Ivy League business schools. "Show me the books," I said. In the cluttered office, George spread out months of financial records. The numbers were grim. Massive debt, declining revenue, mounting maintenance costs. No wonder my brothers thought this inheritance was a joke. But they'd forgotten something important. I'd spent the last 10 years actually working in hotels, learning every aspect of the business from the ground up. While they were making deals in boardrooms, I was learning what really makes a hotel succeed or fail. "George," I looked up from the papers, "how long have you worked here?" 32 years, he replied. "Started as a bellhop when your grandfather still ran the place." "Tell me about those days. What made this hotel special?" His eyes lit up. "Oh, it was something else. Your grandfather believed in personalized service. Every guest felt like family. We had weekly community dinners, local artists displayed their work in the lobby and the garden." He trailed off, looking through the window at the now overgrown courtyard. "What about the garden?" "It was the heart of the hotel. Your grandmother's pride and joy. Guests would have breakfast among the roses, weddings were held under the pergola. It was magical." I stood up, an idea forming. "I need to make some calls. But first, can you gather all the staff? I want to talk to everyone." An hour later, I faced the hotel's remaining employees in the dusty conference room. Besides George, there were 2 housekeepers, a maintenance man, 2 front desk clerks, a cook, and a part-time gardener. All of them looked defeated, probably expecting to be fired. "I know what my brothers think of this place," I began. "They think it's worthless, a joke to be played on their little sister. But they're wrong." I pulled out my laptop, turning it to show them the presentation I'd been working on since the will reading. "This is my vision for the new Sunset Valley Inn. Not a luxury resort, not a generic chain hotel, but something unique. A boutique hotel that celebrates local culture, supports the community, and makes every guest feel like family." Slides showed my plans. Rooms themed around local history, a farm-to-table restaurant featuring local produce, the garden restored to its former glory as an event space. "It won't be easy," I continued. "We'll have to work harder than ever, and it will take time. But if you're willing to believe in this place like I do, I promise you this, in 1 year, the Sunset Valley Inn will be something special again." Maria, one of the housekeepers who'd worked there for 20 years, spoke up. "How can you be sure? The hotel's drowning in debt." I smiled. "Because unlike my brothers, I don't just understand real estate. I understand hospitality, and because of this." I pulled out another document, my resignation letter from my previous job as operations manager at one of San Francisco's top hotels, along with a bank statement showing my entire savings, $175,000. Every penny I have is going into this hotel. I'm not just the owner. I'll be working alongside all of you, every day. This isn't just an inheritance to me. It's my future. The room was silent for a moment. Then George stood up. I'm in, he said firmly. Your grandfather would be proud. One by one, the others nodded, a spark of hope replacing their resignation. That night, I sat alone in the hotel's empty restaurant, surrounded by spreadsheets and renovation plans. My phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. Heard you're actually trying to save that dump. Don't waste your time. Some properties deserve to die. I ignored him, focusing instead on an email from my former boss, responding to my request for advice. Olivia, your brothers are idiots for underestimating you. You were the best operations manager I've ever had. The Sunset Valley has potential, and you have my support. Let me know what you need. Catherine. Over the next few weeks, we worked around the clock. I sold my condo and moved into one of the hotel rooms, pouring every dollar into critical repairs. The staff, energized by our vision, worked overtime without complaint. Local contractors, hearing about our plans, offered discounted services. The town's small business association, excited about the hotel's potential revival, helped spread the word. We started small, fixing what we could, cleaning what we couldn't yet replace, bringing life back to the garden one section at a time. Every morning, I worked alongside the housekeepers. Every evening, I helped in the kitchen. The first sign that things were changing came 2 months in. A guest, checking out after a week's stay, stopped at the front desk where I was covering a shift. This place feels different, she said, smiling. There's heart here. I'll be back. She posted a glowing review online, our first 5-star rating in years. More followed. Then came the turning point. Catherine, my former boss, called with an opportunity. The Silicon Valley Historical Society is looking for venues for their annual gala, she said. 200 guests, full catering, significant publicity. Their usual hotel doubled their rates. I mentioned Sunset Valley. Catherine, we're not ready for something that big. Half the rooms are still. They don't need rooms, just event space. And that garden of yours, even half restored, has potential. Plus, she paused, the society's president is on the board of several major hotels. This could change everything. I looked out at the garden where the maintenance team was rebuilding the pergola. The roses were blooming again. When's the event? 6 weeks. I took a deep breath. Tell them we'll do it. What followed was the most intense 6 weeks of our lives. Every employee worked double shifts. Local artisans helped restore the ballroom's original features. The garden, our priority, slowly reclaimed its former glory. The night before the gala, my phone buzzed again. A message from James. Heard you booked some charity event. Don't embarrass the family name more than you already have. I deleted it without responding. We had work to do. The evening of the gala arrived clear and perfect. Lights twinkled in the restored garden. The ballroom gleamed. Our small staff, dressed in newly designed uniforms, stood ready. As the first guests arrived, I overheard one society member speaking to another. This place is charming, so different from those corporate hotels. Did you know it's been in the same family for 3 generations? By midnight, the event was an unqualified success. The society's president pulled me aside as they were leaving. Miss Carter, this was exceptional. Would you be interested in hosting our winter retreat? And I have some colleagues who might be interested in your venue as well. Later, after the last guest left, the staff gathered in the garden. George raised a glass of champagne. To Olivia, he said, his voice thick with emotion. Who saw what this place could be when everyone else saw only failure? I looked at my small but dedicated team, at the hotel slowly coming back to life, and felt a surge of determination. This was just the beginning. What I didn't know then was that across town, in the gleaming offices of Carter Properties, my brothers were about to face a crisis that would shake their empire to its foundations. And when they did, they discovered that their little sister's worthless hotel was more valuable than they could have imagined. But that story was still to come. The success of the Historical Society Gala changed everything. Within months, the Sunset Valley Inn became the go-to venue for organizations seeking something more authentic than chain hotels. Our reputation grew, and with it, our revenue. 1 year after inheriting the worthless hotel, I sat in my office, the same one where I first reviewed those devastating financial records, looking at very different numbers. Occupancy at 85%, George reported, grinning. Restaurant running at capacity most nights, and the event space is booked solid for the next 6 months. I nodded, but my attention was on a different document. Have you seen this? He leaned over to look at my laptop screen. Carter Properties faces investigation over development practices. The article detailed accusations of corner cutting, permit violations, and financial mismanagement at my brother's company. Their aggressive expansion had finally caught up with them. Your brothers must be worried, George said carefully. Before I could respond, my phone rang, Marcus's number. I ignored it, just as I'd ignored their calls all year. But the voicemail he left made me pause. Olivia, I know we haven't talked, but we need help. The banks are calling in loans. We're looking at potential bankruptcy. Just call me back, please. I set the phone down, thinking about karma and cosmic justice. Then another call came through. Catherine, my former boss and now close advisor. Tell me you've seen the opportunity, she said without preamble. What opportunity? The Riverside Hotel. Carter Properties is being forced to sell it to cover debts. It's their most profitable property. I knew the Riverside well, a historic hotel my father had acquired 20 years ago. Unlike their other properties, it had character, potential. It's not for sale yet, I said. It will be, and when it is, you should buy it. I laughed. With what money? We're doing well, but not that well. Check your email. I did. It was a letter from Harrison Capital Partners, one of the country's largest hotel investment firms. They're impressed with what you've done at Sunset Valley, Catherine explained. They've been watching. They want to back you in acquiring more properties. The Riverside would be just the beginning. My hands shook slightly as I read the letter. The investment firm was offering substantial backing to create a new boutique hotel chain, with me as CEO. They tracked our success, researched my background in hotel operations, and seen the potential. Think about it, Catherine said. Your brothers turned a historic hotel into a soulless profit machine. You could restore it to what it should be. Just then, my office door opened. Maria, our head housekeeper, stuck her head in. Sorry to interrupt, but you need to see this. I followed her to the lobby, where a familiar face stood arguing with our front desk staff. James, my older brother. I need to see Olivia, he was saying, his usually immaculate suit looking rumpled. She's my sister. Mr. Carter, our desk clerk replied firmly. Ms. Carter is in a meeting. If you'd like to make an appointment, it's okay, I said, stepping forward. I'll handle this. James turned, and I barely recognized him. Gone was the arrogant smirk, replaced by desperate worry. Olivia, thank God. We need to talk. I led him to the garden, now fully restored and bloomy with summer flowers. Guests sat enjoying breakfast under the pergola, soft music played from hidden speakers, and the fountain tinkled peacefully. This place. James looked around in obvious surprise. It's actually nice. No thanks to you. I sat at an empty table. What do you want, James? He sank into the chair opposite me, running a hand through his graying hair. You've heard about our troubles. The investigation? The financial problems? Yes, I've heard. We need money. Fast. The banks are calling in loans. Investors are pulling out. If we can't raise capital, he trailed off. And you came to me? The sister you laughed at. The one you gave a worthless hotel to as a joke. I was wrong, he said quietly. We were wrong. What you've done here. It's incredible. And now we need your help. I studied my brother, remembering every dismissive comment, every mockery of my career choices. How much do you need? Hope flickered in his eyes. 20 million. Just as a bridge loan until we can stabilize. I smiled. The Riverside Hotel is worth more than that. He stiffened. What does that have to do with anything? I have a counter-proposal. I pulled out the letter from Harrison Capital. I'll help you, but not with a loan. I want to buy the Riverside. That's our most profitable property. Not anymore. Your management has driven down its reputation, just like you almost destroyed this place. I'll take it off your hands, at fair market value, and add it to my new hotel group. Your what? I explained the investment firm's offer, watching his face shift from desperation to disbelief. You can't be serious. You want us to sell you the Riverside so you can. What? Turn it into another quaint little inn? Actually, I said calmly, I want to turn it into the second location of Valley Hotels and Resorts, a chain of boutique properties that remember what hospitality really means. He stood up abruptly. This is absurd. I'm not selling you our best hotel. Then I guess you'll have to find that $20 million somewhere else. 3 days later, Marcus called. We've reviewed your offer, he said stiffly. The board is considering it. The offer expires at noon tomorrow. After that, I'll negotiate directly with your creditors. The papers were signed the next morning. The Riverside Hotel, jewel of Carter Properties, became the second property in my growing chain. Within 2 years, Valley Hotels and Resorts expanded to 12 locations. Each property was unique, celebrating its local culture while maintaining our commitment to authentic hospitality. The press called us the anti-chain chain, and our occupancy rates led the industry. Carter Properties survived, barely, though my brothers were forced out by their board. They downsized to a small office, managing a fraction of their former empire. Then came the day I'd been waiting for. The Wall Street Journal ran a feature, Valley Hotels and Resorts. How one woman built a hospitality empire from a bankrupt inn. I had the article framed and sent 2 copies, one to each brother's office. That evening, I walked through the Sunset Valley Inn, now our flagship property. The garden was hosting a wedding, laughter and music filling the air. In the restaurant, every table was full. The lobby gleamed with local artwork, and the staff moved with quiet confidence. George appeared at my side. Your father would be proud, he said softly. I thought about my father, who had built an empire but forgotten what really mattered in hospitality. No, I replied, watching a young family check in, being greeted by name. Grandfather would be proud. He understood what makes a hotel special. My phone buzzed. An analyst report showing Valley Hotels and Resorts' latest valuation, $500 million. I deleted it without reading further. The real value wasn't in the numbers. It was in the guests who returned again and again, the staff who had become family, the communities that had embraced us. Later that night, I sat in the garden, enjoying the evening quiet. A text arrived from Catherine. Heard your brothers are looking for work. Should I send them your housekeeping job listings? I laughed, then typed back, no need. Some people aren't cut out for real hospitality. Looking up at the hotel, my hotel, I smiled. The neon sign, now fully restored, cast a warm glow over the full parking lot. The joke, it seemed, had been on them all along. My inheritance hadn't been a bankrupt hotel. It had been an opportunity to prove that success isn't about prestigious addresses or aggressive expansions. Sometimes it's about remembering what really matters, creating places where people feel genuinely welcomed, valued, and at home. And that, as my brothers have learned, was worth more than any real estate empire. The end.